The Safety of Danger: The Complicated Relationship Between Individuals and Society Throughout U.S. History by Sebastian Kazakov. Humans are weak, frail, defenseless bags of water that have evolved to develop an unparalleled intellect, and we have chosen to be quite violent with it. As an example, Cain murdered his brother Abel for the attention of God, which turned out to backfire. And society is just a bunch of Cains who all work together for a common goal. Another biblical example is Sanhedrin, a religious elite group who used danger to murder Jesus to have safety of their religious prowess, hence the name of this presentation. And this has been going on through all of human history. Now, the United States is also part of human history, and even though there was privateers who came in the 1607, there was the Pilgrims in 1600s, John Winthrop brought his Puritans and his Protestants from Europe, where they were being brutally persecuted for not being Catholic. And when they came, he explained to his people in a sermon how everyone must work together. They fill each other, they cover each other, and that they're the shining city on the hill. They are the sign that there can be freedom and escape from oppression. But once they have escaped oppression, they started oppressing other people. And Thomas Jefferson was against this, which was predominantly slavery. He knew that you can't have universal standards and you can't force people to abide by them, but he does remark that slavery is against the will of God. Slavery is just despotic, and it's just a bunch of lazy people who don't want to work. And he, as a slave owner, wants a peaceful resolution, but he feels that the tide is turning. Now, Frederick Douglass also agrees with this. He is an abolitionist, and his concern is that many decades have passed and no progress has been done. So he doesn't want to kiss butt. He wants to get things done because he knows people are powerful and people are capable. And he gave the speech on the 4th of July, which was a ironic twist that not everyone is free. But a little bit less severe, Amy Tan's story, Two Sides, can affect anybody, and it does affect everybody. How society expects different things of people. They compare people to each other, they test people, try to improve people, and sometimes it can feel like Sisyphus pushing a rock up a hill. You try so hard and sometimes it just doesn't work. This affects everyone. And this brutal cycle actually made monsters like Hitler, or it made national treasures like KFC. But back to something a little bit more pressing and a little bit more serious. Even though slavery was abolished 15 years after Frederick Douglass's speech with the 13th Amendment, racism was still a really big thing, and Martin Luther King was able to stifle it and keep it. He was fighting against it for his whole life until he was assassinated, and his wife took over, and when she did so, she targeted the youth, the college students, because she knew that they had a generational gap and that they would be able to have the biggest impact of cleaning everything up and fighting all the crimes that have been done. Now, Julia Alvarez's How the Garcia Girls Lost Their Accents is a wonderful story, which is based on true events about girls who are representing stereotypes of rebellion, of personal body image, of promiscuity, of failure, of different things, and they're targeted because they are women. And the story really makes the reader have some empathy for them, and it is important that, while other 50% of our population can be oppressed, and that's brutal. Now, there was this podcast, Code Switch, hosted by NPR. I despised it a lot because even though this entire presentation is about talking about the discrimination and the different awful things that happen to people, this podcast was keeping it alive. It was calling Americans, Asian Americans, and Korean Americans horrible things, that quiet, compliant, and saying horrible things about families and other different things, innocent people who did not deserve this. So I despised this, and this was a perfect example of why a lot of discrimination and awful things are still around today. But on the flip side, Amanda Gorman's The Hill We Climb is an amazing presidential inauguration speech that she gave for Joe Biden, and it was a very good speech about how humanity, and especially this country, needs to come together, be kind, put our different societies' future first, to not fix a broken country but keep on building. And it should be remembered, there's no evil race or innocent race, there's just jerks and nice people in this world, and we must all love each other equally. Thank you.